Episode 274 of the Grip Strip Podcast, the Keep It the Same edition of the Grip Strip Podcast. Keep it the same, go and screw up the open. My name is Philip Matthew, I'm your host. And as always, I'm with the iRacing Indy 500 champion, computer genius, a gentleman and a scholar. His name is Joshua Fine. What's going on, man?
Hey, doing great. Of course, glad to be back on vacation last week and back to regular life now this week. But yeah, a lot of motorsports stuff to talk about, especially with NASCAR. Seemingly, SVG's become the name of the game these days here in NASCAR, and could be if he gets good on oval. So we'll see. But yeah, ready to get into it.
Is he wasting a playoff spot now after he's won 3 of the last 5 races? Dominated 2 of them, the last 2. I'm just happy that my driver finished second and was literally the second best car. But that I'll take. Shane Van Gisburgen wins at Sonoma, basically in a runaway. Late race restarts notwithstanding. You had Connor Zilisch flip it back around after Chicago in the Xfinity race on SVG and get the win there. So I think it's his 3rd win of the season. So I mean, Connor Zilisch is we know that for all intents and purposes, he's going to be in a cup car next year. They're going to be teammates, and he's going to be deadly. He has all the makings of possibly having one of the great rookie seasons in Cup history. If this kind of trajectory continues, of course, going to Cup is a whole different animal. But from what we've seen in a junior motorsports car, I have a hard time believing that Connor Zilisch is going to take a step backwards. But we'll see. At Iowa Speedway, the Chevrolet camp finally won a race. Pato Award comes through with a race 1 victory. In race 2, though, saw the guy that is going to be the champion. We might as well just say he's a 4-time IndyCar champion. He is the Indianapolis 500 champion, and has now won in every discipline that you can in an IndyCar. His name is Alex Palou. Hello, Palou, with his 7th win in 2025. What else is left, I think, is can he set some sort of record for the biggest points gap between first and second ever in an IndyCar in this form, whatever IRL, whatever the heck you want to call it. Biggest championship margin of victory is really what he's playing for, and as many more wins as he can get. We haven't seen a season like this in a very, very long time, with the number of wins that Alex Palou's got right now, and going to Toronto, another track that he hasn't won at, so it's a challenge to see if he can go do that. We have F1 news, including Karen Horner getting tossed. You have Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez, I think, being the 2 lead drivers to possibly drive for Cadillac, TWG, Andretti, Global, blah, blah, blah. So we'll get into some of that stuff. And roundup, we'll talk about F1 the movie. Also, Miles Rowe's win at Iowa. In Indy next, IMSA and Mosport had 3 of the 4 major classes there. Formula E in Berlin, World Superbikes at Donington, Supercars were at Townsville. We will preview Dover for Cup and Xfinity. We will also preview Toronto IndyCar. Josh, let us know all things going on iRacing, gaming in a sim segment, and then we'll call it a day. So we will start with the Toyota Save Mark 350 this past weekend was just like the Chicago street course, was basically a Shane Van Gisburgen clinic. The guy whose number for many years was the number 97, led 97 laps of the 110. What do you go? Flip the stage in stage 2 and still won the stage, which might be one of the all-time flexes in NASCAR in terms of a stage rate with the stages. Finished second in stage 1, so almost a perfect race for SVG. Also looks like he had 5. So SVG gets the victory, his third victory of the season, 4th of overall, tying one Vernelli Jones. If you ask AJ Foyt how to pronounce Parnelli Jones's name, quickest to get to 4 Cup wins. So that's some crazy company there. Chase Briscoe started second, finished second. William Clyde Elliott the second, Michael McDowell, Christopher Bell, your top 5. Tyler Reddick, Keebler Gibbs, who tried to hit one of Brad Keselowski's pit crew members with his car, and didn't really seem to have any remorse. Will Byron, Joey Logano, Kyle Busch, your top 10. The Roush Fenway cars finished 11th, 12th, and 16th. Josh Berry actually got a top 15 on a road course. Wow. All but 4 cars finished on the lead lap. Richard actually had scored decent stage points. Finished buried. So did Dal Walsh Jr. Ty Dillon somehow or another stayed alive in the bracket challenge, along with Keebler Gibbs and Tyler Reddick and then John Hunter beating his teammate Eric Jones by 1 spot, basically tailback there. Blaney got sent off the track. He had multiple issues during the race. Had a car that could have done way better than that. Larson got the rear clip basically shoved in late in the race. Cody Ware had some issues, nowhere near as bad as Chicago. And Gagson hit the fence with about 11, 12 laps to go. Or I don't know, or I forget what. He only finished 99 laps. I forget when he wrecked. Was okay, so he did wreck on lap 101. All right. So 12 lead changes among 6 drivers, but SVG just destroyed the field. Josh, we know. I've watched him in supercars for years. Him and Scott McLaughlin had a great rivalry. Now they're pretty good friends, or I think they might have been friends, but they definitely had a rivalry back then. The Ford versus Holden battle. Now SVG is here running NASCAR in the Cup Series in his rookie year, and about 5 weeks ago he had nothing to race for really, and now 5 weeks later he's won 3 races, and if he can fade the racetracks in round 1, he has a better than average shot of finishing in the top 8 in points. which is crazy to think after how his season had started. The team, a lot of guys that came from Stewart-Haas Racing between the 4 and the 14 crew. And so, Steven Doran was part of the Trackhouse deal, but he also was with Spire last year to bring that all over. And a team that struggled, I think whoever they had that they brought back, plus you had a bunch of guys that had a lot of rough times last few years, and now you combine all those guys, and then you put SVG in the mix, and there's still a couple more road courses. We got some super speedway races going on. SVG is not going away. He never has. He's been considered one of the fastest all-around racers in the world. He's proven it in God knows how many vehicles. He proved it when he showed up and beat everybody at Chicago a couple of years ago. But now he's doing it in a full season. Is he going to win the championship? No. But what he's doing is impressive. I mean, you're bringing up the likes of Parnelli Jones and Dan Gurney in terms of legend sphere, but then you also have Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Tony Stewart. Those guys are two of those guys are two of the best road racers that Cup has ever seen. And then one of the greatest champions in Jimmy. So that's who he's being compared with. That's like him being compared with, in his heyday in the supercar, V8 supercars, to Lowndes or Scaife or Dick Johnson or, why am I forgetting his name, Peter Brock. That's the kind of company he's sharing right now. And for a guy who's a rookie, albeit he ain't the kind of rookie that you would think, that's pretty heady company. And you got to take the people want to hate on it, can hate on it. It's fine. But dude is just a contract killer. He always has been. This really shouldn't be as surprising. Or shouldn't be that surprising. I think Justin Marks banked on this whole entire thing coming off this way. It's just that they've executed. Briscoe's proof of that. They execute. They very rarely have executed a full race. They win one of them, even with a screw up. They get second place last week. There's a few different options there, but SVG's just beating everyone's ass, and he's picking up on oval slowly but surely, and I assume they're going to probably start funneling more energy into the 88 car with Suarez leaving, which in turn might help him take an additional step forward as we get closer to the playoff. But what can you say about SVG, Josh?
To answer your question from the top of the show, is SVG wasting a playoff spot? At this point, maybe 5 weeks ago when he won at Mexico, you could maybe say, well, maybe he is, maybe he's not. But I think now that he's won 2 races or additional races, and now he's tied for the most wins. And oh, by the way, we still have Watkins Glen left to go here in the summer before the playoffs start. He could easily start off the playoffs being the number 1 seed if no one else wins more than 3 races here, which certainly possible with the way things are going right now. And the summer seems to certainly be, other than SVG winning, we've certainly seen a bunch of new drivers or drivers who haven't won yet this year put their name in the column, like Chase Elliott, and Chase Briscoe, of course. But for SVG at this point, with winning 3 races, he's got enough playoff points, and if he wins Watkins Glen, that he could probably make it through the top, or the round of 16 and make it past that first round. And then if he wins the Roval, then he's in the round of 8. If he makes it into the round of 12, wins the Roval, into the round of 8, and then, well, the way I look at it, I mean, he performed well or relatively well for, I guess, his standards at the opening clash at Bowman Gray. And if he approaches Martinsville like it's a road course, he could get a good enough finish in there to make it to the championship 4. That's the way that I kind of see it. I don't know if that would happen, but at the very least, like you said, at the very least, he's probably easy bet for, well, I won't say easy, but it's very plausible that you could see him finish at the least in the top 8 of the standings at the end of the season. So, he's continuing to show that there's a reason why he's here in this sport right now. Obviously, he's happier than what he was driving in supercars with the changes that they made in their last couple of seasons with their car. But yeah, he's just dominated, and if the platform's similar to the V8 supercars, but at the same time, like, okay, well, why aren't any of the other V8 supercar ringers that are coming in, like Will Brown and other drivers, why haven't they come in and run just as well? Well, I mean, I think equivalent is part of that, but it just shows that just how good SVG is at adapting to the next gen car and figuring it out and getting the most out of it on road courses like what we've seen at Mexico City, which of course that was also weather, which kind of goes back to what he was able to do in his first win at Chicago, and then running at Chicago this year, dominating there, and the domination that he put up here, surviving the late restarts, challenges from William Byron, Chase Briscoe, and the like here at Sonoma. So I think he makes the case for being one of the best road course races, if not the best in NASCAR history. I mean, you mentioned Dan Gurney. I think Dan Gurney still, with the winning percentage that he had, I think makes the case there for that. But and the limited total amount of starts that he just had in general, NASCAR just being a ringer at at Riverside and whatnot. So there's an argument there. Of course, the domination that he had Sunday at Sonoma is very similar to the domination that Jeff Gordon had for many years at that particular track. Remember, 2004 led a crazy amount of laps. And in fact, SVG here this past Sunday led the most laps in a win on a road course since a race at Riverside back in the 70s. I think that was won by, I think they said just Kelly Yarborough. But yeah, definitely shows why he's dominating in road course racing right now. And of course, with the way that we've had 3 out of the last 5 races be road courses, and now people are like, are there too many road courses? And I'm like, well, I don't know if there's too many, but certainly the way that they're scheduled currently, I think maybe there's could spread it out so that it just doesn't seem like there's the same guy winning every week. But I mean, even so, like, even if they spread them out throughout the year, well, every time we go to one, well, okay, SVG is the guy at that particular track. So yeah, we'll see, I guess, next year as they figure out the road courses that are going to be on the schedule. But yeah, I think at the very least, SVG, as long as he can figure out ovals, it's going to be interesting to watch. So yeah, I think there's reason why people are praising him and showing how great he is, and he's continuing to back up those claims.
Yeah, and I mean, when it comes to trying to compete, for a championship or compete in this playoff, it's something where, as a rookie, making the playoff is I think a victory in itself. For somebody of SVG's caliber, of course you want more. I think the comparison would be what Suarez did last year, and I think he went around. Either he got eliminated or he went around. I can't remember off the top of my head, but that was after that, win the 3-wide photo finish at Atlanta, which was the second race of the year, for a win. So it's like he's won 3 races. The only other real history for Trackhouse is Chastain doing the Hail Melon and finishing second in points. Yes, he's made playoffs since, but that's what everybody remembers Trackhouse for. If SVG can get through round 1, then he definitely has an opportunity, like Josh said, to go and make a deep run. I don't think he would advance past the round of 8, but who knows? Stranger things have happened. He's accumulating a lot of playoff points, and that is a big deal. It can save you from imminent death in terms of your playoff opportunities. We saw what happened to Kyle Larson last year, and not winning the regular season title and losing it by a point, how that 1 point made a big difference in terms of his long-term viability in the playoffs. One more road course, super speedway. You have Indy next week, so there's a few races that could really kind of make things play in the favor of somebody like SVG. When it comes to guys that are in the points, you have William Clyde Elliott II. He goes and gets another top 5 finish. He's second in points. He's only 14 points out of the regular season, which he needs probably as much as anybody. The top 6 are only separated by 71 points, so it's just over a full race, like if you get a perfect race. Hamlin's in, so it's like Byron, Elliott, Larson, Reddick, Hamlin, Bell. And when you consider how poorly that Kyle Larson has been running recently, the fact that he's only 44 points out of the overall points lead is kind of shows the kind of work he did earlier in the year, with all those stage wins and of course the race wins, playing a part there. But yeah, those are really the 6 guys right now that have a chance. Chase Briscoe getting a second place finish. Currently in overall points is 8th, which is really, really good. 3rd, of course, of the Gibbs guys, 4th of the Toyotas. But, for his first year in a new team, they gave up a lot of points earlier in the year. Great. That's a great job by them. You have Balder, Reddick, I mentioned, Byron, who's the overall points leader. And then that's where we're at. That's overall points. Go back and look at the playoff standing. You have SVG right now. If you look at of all the drivers with 3 wins, he's 200 230 points behind. That is something. 230 points behind Christopher Bell. Wow. Okay. But still, won 3 races, 17 playoff points. He's got the third most playoff points of anybody at the moment. So it'll be a reset come whatever, I guess, Darlington. And so he'll have an opportunity along with everybody else that's able to go and get in there. Currently, the cutoff, Chris Buescher's plus 34, Bowman plus 32, Bubba plus 3 over Ryan Preece, Kyle Busch minus 37, AJ Allmendinger minus 50, and Keebler Gibbs minus 60 in 20th. Now 17th overall, but 20th in the playoff standings. All right, let's move to the Xfinity side. Pit Boss Food Max 250 at Sonoma. And we had Connor Zilisch get his... How does it say he only has 2 wins? Isn't this his 3rd win of the season?
Yeah.
He won at... Yeah, so that's a misprint on...
Coda.
Yeah, on the website. Yeah, they're... yeah, Coda, Pocono, and at Sonoma, he's been close in a couple other races too, but he has 3 wins now. Yeah, so his 3rd win of the season. Just a great result for him, beating SVG heads up, led the most laps, and didn't win a stage, but he didn't need to. Put himself in position, ran up front all day, and his 3rd win of the season as well. 2024 or 25. SVG was 2nd after qualifying on pole. William Sawalich won the ARCA West race and then actually ran top 5 all day or 10 and actually came through. Nick Sanchez started 23rd, finished 4th, so credit to him and the 48 team for Scott Borchetta. Riley Herbst finished 5th. Allgaier, Gray, Carson Kvapil, Sammy Smith, Sheldon Creed. Those 3 guys were battling for points, stage points. You had Austin Green finished 11th in front of Hank Hill, Bruckshot Jones. You had Sam Mayer won stage 1, Blaine Perkins 19th. Ryan Sieg scored a couple of points in the stages and then was buried along with Christian Eckes. There, Chris Wrong in what looks like, at least for now, will be his last Xfinity race for a period of time, finished in 29th position. Jesse Love had a rear gear failure and fell out. Alex Labea suspension issue and Sage Karam transmission issues. Those are 3 cars that were out. But Connor Zilisch, we mentioned him earlier, Josh, and he's the next big thing. He's like what Joey Logano was 10 years ago, or 15, 16, 17 years ago, whatever it was. The next big thing in the sport. And but the difference here is he's made his name driving all different types of cars and road racing, and he's learning stock cars as he goes along. At 18 years old, and he's doing pretty damn well. Junior Motorsports is the best team in the series by far, and guys like Connor are the beneficiaries of that. Whether Dale Jr.'s on the box, whether Marty Lindley's on the box, whether they're running on an oval, whether they're running on a road course, Connor Zilisch is very fast. And honestly, if and when he cleans up his racecraft and races, this could be a real problem for everybody. Because there's been a lot of errors, a lot of mistakes on his part and the team's part, and they've still won all these races. So Zilch went out, made up for the week before in Chicago, but it's not really. It's a little more surprising, being that he's 18 years old and he doesn't have that much stock car experience. But the longer that we watch this, the less, honestly, we should be surprised. But what are your thoughts on the battle between the guys who are going to be teammates here next year?
I mean, I thought the Xfinity race on Saturday, to me, that looked like appointment time television there, with two guys who are really good at their craft, in SVG and Connor Zilisch. And kind of going back to people, or with SVG, and whether he's wasting a playoff spot and all that. Well, just wait until Connor Zilisch gets to the Cup Series and everything. And we've only seen him 3 times so far, but once he's there full time, I think he'll be putting up. He'll be farther ahead on the ovals than where SVG was to when SVG started racing this year. So he's gonna be farther ahead once he gets to the Cup Series. So, in a way, not to say that he's better than SVG, but in terms of racing here in NASCAR, I think Connor Zilisch might be a more complete version of what people envision SVG to be if he gets good on ovals. So that race on Saturday was really good, really fun to watch how SVG was able to keep ahead of or not SVG, but Connor Zilisch was able to keep ahead of SVG there throughout that race, and leading 46 laps and winning the race. And the racecraft he showed in the last handful of laps to keep SVG at bay was pretty incredible. Taking a very shallow line into turn 11 on the last lap there to make sure that SVG had to take the outside and be at a disadvantage and not be able to overtake him there before the finish there. That was great racecraft. Shallow line into turn 7, and which SVG kind of bumped him there, but he's not going to go clean him out there like some other guy would in the Xfinity Series or in the Cup Series. So credit to SVG there for racing him rough, but also racing him clean. The previous week he kind of shut the door on him, and Zilisch, people asked Zilisch, well, was that dirty or not? But Zilisch, thought it was clean. So just two guys that are really good at their craft, racing each other, pretty hard, but pretty cleanly, I think, overall. So it was, pretty interesting to see that play out. And he does. There has been points throughout the season where, the racecraft has, had an issue. Go back to Mexico City. He probably could have won that race, in my opinion. Probably could have won there. Coda, for a while we weren't sure if he was going to win that race, but he ended up coming back and winning that. So, for me, he's showing that he's having a really good rookie year here in the Xfinity Series, and easily could be a championship threat. As long as things go his way. So, I think you have to kind of envision him as probably one of the guys that could be in the final 4 here for the Xfinity Series. I think at least to the round of 8, but definitely with where he's at on ovals right now, I think he's probably a guy you have to look out for here in the championship 4 here at the end of the year. But yeah, just a really excellent run race by him on Saturday there versus SVG.
And it's weird, and we still don't know what the true potential is. Like that's the whole point. I mean, Marty Lindley is probably the best person they could have put with Connor, because he's a racer, a legend, a champion driver, and now he's the crew chief, and he's basically the calming influence there. Curious to see if they try to convince him to move up with them to Cup. Might be an interesting thing if they're able to do that. The points will go to the current standing, the playoff standing. Allgaiers tied with Hank Hill. They have that misprinted, so I have to take that. So it's like, Connor Zilisch has 18 playoff points with 3 wins, 3 stage wins. Those are the 3 leading guys. Then you have Buckshot Jones, Sammy Smith, Jesse Love, Nick Sanchez, all the other winners. Sam Mayer, pretty strong points wise. I think Carson Quapple's similar. I would say Sheldon Creed's plus 54. That's where the sweat kind of starts. Taylor Gray plus 22. Jed Burton plus 16 over his cousin Harrison. So that's the battle. Ryan Siegs minus 50. Dean Thomas minus 66. And Christian Eckes minus 81. So basically, Eckes, I mean, anybody I think behind Harrison Burton would have to win to try and get in. So it's something we're going to have to look at in terms of the Xfinity Series. So for IndyCar, we'll go over there next. And that is, it was a welcome change in a sense that they had a Chevy win, the most popular driver in IndyCar, Pato Award, going and getting the victory. The Penske cars having speed but not being able to finish the job. So there's what is it now? There's 5 races to go in the season. That's crazy to think. There's literally after this weekend, there was actually 7 races. Yeah, so with this coming weekend's race in Toronto, there will only be 5 races left. So, the results of the doubleheader they ran during the day was not promoted well. And there was nobody there basically, so it was really got awful. Pato Award led 33 laps, ends up with the victory. Newgarden had led 232 of the races, 275 laps, finished second. Winch Power third. Scott McLaughlin from 27 to 4th, so 4 Chevys. The top 4 Chevys, 3 Penske cars, second through 4th. Alex Palou finished 5th. Christian Rasmussen from 19th to 6th. Connor Daly started second in this race, finished 7th. Root Beer Floathead was just behind him. Marcus Armstrong, Scott Dixon, your top 10. You had 15 cars on the lead lap in that one. Then in race 2, that was a Sync 275, farm to finish 275. Alex Palou was on pole, led 194 of the races, 275 laps. Joseph Newgarden led 72. There were only 3 leaders in this race. Nolan Siegel got knocked out with a concussion from the day before. Scott McLaughlin, Devlin DeFrancesco crashed lap 1. Will Power had a mechanical issue, finished 24th. There was a few other guys that crashed there. It was Palou, Dixon, and Armstrong, so 3 Ganassi connected cars on the podium. Then David Malukas for AJ Foy Racing, O'Ward, Lundgaard, 5th and 6th. Felix Rosenquist was 7th. Christian Rasmussen, Bobby Schwartzman, and Joseph Newgarden. Your top 10. I mean, it was the tale of Joseph Newgarden, I think. What has been a pretty awful year for the multi-time champion, the dominator at Iowa, who did dominate. He led 300 something laps during the weekend and basically had nothing to show for it. Pato O'Ward finally breaking the Honda stranglehold on wins, but then Alex Palou responding the next day and completing the track, different types of tracks that you can win on in IndyCar. He has now won on all of them. And he's on 7 wins this year. Still a possibility of double digits here with 5 races to go only. But the last 2 are ovals, so something to be said on that. But I mean, credit to the guys that were able to get the dubs in Pato O'Ward and Alex Palou, and Palou proving once again why he's going to be a 4-time IndyCar Series champion, which is crazy to think that's what Dario Franchitti did too. So, winning, but he won 3 of them for Ganassi. Curious to see where this goes, but for O'Ward, good momentum heading forward, trying to possibly finish second in points. Alex Palou proving once again why he is above, head and shoulders above and beyond everybody in the IndyCar Series.
Yeah, once again, Alex Palou wins, and it's on an oval, which we haven't been able, other than the Indianapolis 500. This is the first short oval win, which now we can say he's really good. I mean, he's had good finishes before on ovals, but it just had never cracked through until the big one at the Indy 500, and now winning on a short oval here at Iowa, which this race was basically between him and Joseph Newgarden throughout on Sunday, and it looked like towards the end that this might go Newgarden's way, but then caution for Ericsson while Newgarden in the pits, that just made it harder for Newgarden to come back and get back to the front, which he was briefly before pitting, and then the yellow comes out when he pitted and puts him back to the back of the back of the top 10, and he fades and it finishes in in, you look at here, race 2 finished in 10th place here. So just unfortunate luck for Newgarden there, but Palou of course was fast on Sunday and able to, I think, with the pit strategy that they had, because they waited to pit to the yellow, I think they were a little bit more conservative on their pace, whereas Newgarden seemed to have a bigger pace there, and it looked like for a minute that he would kind of drive away there at the end, but then Newgarden fell back after that pit stop. So just Palou, I think now you can say he's definitely figured out ovals and could win the last 2 ovals of the year with Milwaukee Mile and Nashville coming up, but we'll see how he's able to do there, because last year honestly just thought he would just close out with wins, but didn't come through with that. So we'll see how he is able to perform throughout the rest of the year on ovals and continue to pick up wins there, in addition to already winning on road and street courses, which we're going to be at Toronto here this Sunday. So of course Palou winning, and then mentioned with Pato Award winning on Saturday, which big win for Chevy, finally winning a race and winning it on an oval. So at least now we can say that Chevy's won an event here finally in IndyCar, which could have been him or Joseph Newgarden. Again, Newgarden just unable to close there throughout the weekend, which a lot of people have been questioning his demeanor and stuff because of how I guess unhappy he seemed and not wanting to talk to media throughout the season. And I mean, he's having a tough year. Don't know what else you can say there. And of course the issues that Team Penske has had the last couple of years with bending the rules and getting caught at the Indianapolis 500 and having to fire key personnel like Tim Cindric, I think it's definitely had an effect on the organization, but it may have had quite an effect on Joseph Newgarden in the way that his season has gone. So I don't know what else you can say about Newgarden, but you're just gonna have to continue to pull up the bootstraps and try again next week, which don't know how well he can do on a street course at this point in the season, but there's still 2 ovals left here at the end of the year, like I said earlier, so maybe he could be a threat, especially his last race of the season at his home track in Nashville. So still potential there for Newgarden to have a little bit of a bright spot on the season if if there's a possibility there. So we'll have to wait and see there, but otherwise still continues to be Alex Palou just dominating, which with the way attendance and TV ratings are at ovals this year, it seems like that maybe Palou's maybe affecting it because people don't want to tune in and watch Palou win every race, but I digress there. So we'll have to continue to wait and see how that part of the deal goes, but otherwise seems like Palou's going to continue to win throughout the year, I think.
I mean, it's just a matter by how many points he's going to win the championship by and how many wins he's going to have at the end of the year. He already has basically sewn up the championship. He has 7 wins. And and so it's like, it's insane to think how, it's not like how it was or it is in the truck series, or like Corey Heim should have won every race. But to be completely honest, basically all but one race this season, Palou's been in the mix to win. So in this series, which is so close, to be that dominant is a crazy thing to see. But hey, it's part of what makes people show up and curious as to what some of these other drivers and teams can do. 10 top 5s and 11 top 10s in 12 races with 7 wins and 4 poles. 129 point lead over Pato Award. Scott Dixon 7-point lead over Kyle Kirkwood, so for 3rd and 4th. Then Christian Lundgaard and Felix Rosenqvist separated by 2 points. Marcus Armstrong Power tied with Colton Herta and Root Beer Floathead tied with his teammate David Malukas, who has 2 less top 5s and 2 less top 10s. So interesting how that works. Scott McLaughlin just outside the top 10, 10 points out of 9th. And then Rena's VK decided to jump in. He's 33 points out of 8th, and 9th. So good battle there amongst those drivers. And then you have Newgard and Rasmussen in that mix too. So something to say. 330 laps, 331 he's led all year, and he led 230, but like 300 of them this past weekend. All right. We'll get into some F1 news. I mean, we've heard some or read some rumors or seen in terms of what Cadillac, TWG, Andretti, Global, whatever, trying to determine who they want to drive for them next season. And it looks like they have their eyes set on Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez, so a full veteran lineup amongst a bunch of mooted drivers there. But I mean, in terms of trying to come into a new championship as a new team, they getting 2 veteran drivers is probably not the worst thing in terms of wanting to save equipment and give the best feedback possible for this coming for these guys. And so, I mean, what do we think? I mean, to me, I'm neither here nor there based on the other rumored drivers that were options or what are being discussed as options. I think those 2 guys, at least for 1 season, maybe 2, could be serviceable enough to make this Cadillac TWG outfit actually work well. But what are your thoughts on the 2 guys with the Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that, I mean, if those 2 guys are going to be the 2 guys to carry or to lead Cadillac F1 in their first season, I mean, I can't think of a better pairing there, because Perez, he's been, when he's been in good equipment, he's been able to perform well. And when he was in Racing Point back, in the pink Mercedes, he was basically in a mid-tier team that he was performing really well, and that parlayed him into a ride with Red Bull. And I mean, I think he's a guy that can kind of lead the team and get good results throughout the course of the season. And I think the same thing for Valtteri Bottas. Of course, has had more success at Mercedes and has had more success throughout his career over Perez, but I think he's somebody that, waiting to have a seat again in F1. I think he's somebody that can at least be in that car and have a chance to potentially, I mean, I don't think they probably be able to place in the points, but to get good finishes for what's probably expected of that team. And I think for both of them to get solid results throughout the year, both veteran drivers that are still have a desire to race there. I mean, obviously, Perez, a former Red Bull guy, being on the sidelines this year, rather than take a, backfield drive or even a midfield drive, passing up that and potentially, being at Cadillac. I think that's could be a win for him. Probably close out his career more than likely, given his age. So, I think for them, both of them, I think, a year or 2 or even 3 years, both of them, to kind of build that team up as, Cadillac gets their entry into the sport. And then, I guess, as they enter the sport also as a engine supplier, I think you need 2 veteran guys who have a lot of experience and are capable of delivering results that show both their potential as a team and what they're capable of as a driver.
And there's other pieces to be looked at, but the driver lineup, you want something stable that can keep the cars clean, bring them back in one piece to get the data, but then also have a car to race with the following week. So can't really go wrong if they do that with those 2 guys. The other major news while we were away was Karen Horner getting banned. Wait a minute. It was Karen Horner getting fired on Monday. What was it? A couple of days ago, or a few days ago, and people, including both Josh and I, thought that it was a joke, but in the end, it wasn't. And after 21 years of running that team, Horner is out. There's rumors that it was a power struggle with fish lips and his dad. Could be any number of things, but Karen Horner getting let go, Josh, is pretty crazy with all the things that are going on at Red Bull at the moment, what's upcoming for 2026.
Yeah, for me, very shocking to hear. Obviously, I thought it was fake, like you said. Looking at it on the official F1 Instagram page, Christian Horner fired from or released from Red Bull with immediate effect, and I'm like, what? That can't be true. And then you go and Google Christian Horner, and all the pages say he's been released, and then you see the video of him giving his farewell speech to the team, and it was pretty emotional for him. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty significant, of course. I mean, look at him in his career, brought Red Bull from the back to being a dominant force here in the last couple of years in F1, and having multiple titles throughout his career, and having multiple constructors titles throughout his career. I mean, the accomplishments that he's made, I mean, you can't argue that he's had quite a run at Red Bull. But like you said, power struggle with Verstappen and his camp, of course, it seemed like, which Max has not been happy with the car this year, and the rumors of the exit clause being triggered if he's below third in points by the Belgium Grand Prix were in rumor to be happening. When they confirmed that clause does exist in his contract, it could let him out of his contract at Red Bull. And then, of course, the talk of him joining Mercedes potentially on there as well. So lots of pressure from Verstappen's camp, and of course, with multiple personnel leaving Red Bull in the last couple of seasons, including Adrian Newey, the car designer who helped design some of the most dominant Red Bull cars that we've seen in this era, now going to Aston Martin and a couple of other key engineers that have gone on to McLaren and other organizations, and Christian Horner is the only one left. Well, as cars continue to race poorly, and you have the second car being in and out of drivers, with Yuki Tsunoda being the latest guy in it, but also replacing Lawson at the beginning of the year, with the instability there, and also with the struggle that Sergio Perez had there, whereas Max was frequently carrying the team throughout the season last year and through this year. It just seemed like the end was probably near for Christian Horner anyways. So I guess they, just like they do with their drivers, they continue to do surprise sackings, as they say in the UK over there. What a term there for firing somebody, to say that, sack. But for Christian, I mean, he still, it looks like they're still paying him because he's under contract, but he will no longer be participating with them going forward. So we'll see where he reemerges there in F1. Perhaps he takes off and takes a break maybe and comes back when the contract allows him to pursue other opportunities. But I mean, it's going to be interesting to see, because it seems like they're doing this to try to show that they can make changes that ultimately affect the car for Max Verstappen, to keep him from going to another team. So they've played their hand, I think, to try and get him. So I think, or to keep him there. So it's going to be interesting to see if Max decides to stay for at least another year, or if he just decides he's had enough anyways and bolts to another team, which could end up being Mercedes there. So it's very, very shocking to see that, especially in season. But hey, Red Bull, like I said, is known to do this with their drivers that aren't Max Verstappen. So I guess now it's happening to the CEO in Christian Horner. And one thing I'll say is, with the struggles that they've had with their car this year, it's kind of led to this. It reminds me of the scene from, the clip from Drive to Survive, where all the team principals are sitting together, and Toto's like complaining to everybody about how this car, especially with the porpoising, how this car is performing with the new, or what was new in 2022. And Christian Horner was like, change your fucking car. And now, in 3 years later since that scene, he's fired. So I don't know. I thought about that, and that was pretty funny to me. So, but I mean, it's unfortunate though for him to see it kind of go down like this, and how much it meant to him. So, yeah, I guess in that regard it does suck. But just the circumstances though of how it's happening, it is quite interesting.
I mean, when you consider that toxic trio they have there, between One-Eyed Marco and Fish Lips, and used to be Karen Horner, for all the bad juju he brings to the table, I think it was only a matter of time. In fact, they have a bad car, that they've lost so many key people, because when you dominate the way that they've dominated, through whatever hook or by crook, to go and get that, to try and maintain that. Of course, they dominated for basically 2 years, through 2 and almost 3 years, from 21 through 23, and they were up front for the first few races of 24. And then the tide shifted at Miami of last year, and since then McLaren has been the fastest car. So Fish Lips had gained enough points early in the year, winning all those races, being dominant, that he essentially held on to the championship as much as anything. That and Lando Norris really isn't wasn't going to be able to stand up to fish lips. In this case, now they have a bad car. They've gone through 2 drivers. They're going to be gone on to their second driver. They're going to be going through that one, get rid of him at the end of the year. So whether it's Hajar, whether it's Lawson, whether it's somebody else outside, news coming out on motorsport.com that talks One-Eyed Marco talking about how they should have probably signed Nico Hulkenberg way back in 2021. And, in hindsight being 2020, but I think it would have been a better move. But Perez brings the money. Perez comes off of winning his first Grand Prix late in 2020. So that's why they went with that. But whoever they have driving that second car, it's not performing. So it's something that has to be probably addressed more in detail, but we will see what happens there. We will move forward now to Indy next. So we'll go over there. Miles Rowe getting the victory at Iowa Speedway after starting 4th. Passes Dennis Hauger, who started on pole to get the victory. Salvador D'Alba, Caio Collet, Niles Coulin, your top 5. Josh Pearson was 11th. Juan Manuel Correa 12th. Jack William Miller 14th. Davey Hamilton Jr. 15th. Lockie Hughes. And so then the standings right now, Dennis Hauger 76-point lead on Lockie Hughes. Caio Collet 3rd, minus 94. Miles Rowe moves up to 4th, minus 127. 20. It was a 20. I think so 30, 29-point lead on Salvador D'Alba, and then Pearson was 6th. Hauger's going to win this championship because he's got 5 wins so far in 9 races, 6 poles, 8 top 5s, 9 top 10s. So, guy is locked the same way as Alex Palou. And they'll have a doubleheader at Laguna a couple weeks' time. Got the... go and move that. That is okay. Move that over. Okay. IMSA at Mosport saw the AO Racing team go and get the overall victory. So Dane Cameron going out there, getting the overall win. Big deal for them. That organization. There was late race issues that affected the final result. In Chevy Grand Prix. So there was PJI, Dane Cameron, the winners, over Dan Goldberg, Tom Bloomquist, Gar Robinson, Felipe Fraga, who ended up benefiting from a penalty assessed to get on the podium. Yeah, so that in GT Pro Dragon Speed with Albert Costa and Alto, the winners over the Corvette Pratt Miller #4 of Tom Milner and Nicky Katzberg, and then Warren Heinrich, Klaus Bachler for AO Racing. Third in GT Pro. Then in GTD was Wayne Taylor Racing Lambo with Formal and Hinman over the Windward Racing Mercedes Russell Ward Philip Ellis, and the Vassar Sullivan Lexus of Jack Hawksworth, Parker Thompson, Robert Wickens, hometown hero, and Alec Udell driving the DXDT Corvette, finished 23rd overall. So that is that for Chevy Grand Prix. Go and move forward in terms of the schedule. There's not that many races left in the season. The WeatherTech Sports Car Series. That was a Chevy Grand Prix. And then trying to... Oh, yeah, so the next race will be Road America. And then after that, trying to see the schedule, but not okay. There you go. So after the Road America weekend, which will be a full, I think, full field, they'll have a GT only event at VIR. Then the battle at the bricks, or battle on the bricks for an enduro, and then Petit Le Mans to round out the season. Formula E in Berlin. Kind of get through that. Roland produces world champion. So Oliver Roland goes and wins the world championship. Credit to him in the process there. So in round 13, the first of two races, Mitch Evans wins from pole over Pascal Wehrlein, who had the fastest lap, and Eduardo Mortara third, Taylor Barnard fourth, Nick Cassidy fifth. Oliver Rowland DNF'd in the first race. The react to the win. Find out more. That's not how you do things. That's not what I want. And then in race 2, and Nick Cassidy, the winner, fastest lap after starting 20th. Jake Dennis, Jean-Eric Verne, Oliver Rowland finished 4th. So the standings, Oliver Rowland has an insurmountable lead. The 2 races to go. Pascal Wehrlein, valiant effort to try and defend his title, but the the 4 wins and then 3 second place finishes in a span of 4 in 8 rounds was basically what did everyone in, because he's only scored 23 points in the last 5 rounds. There's the London E-Prix coming up to finish the year. Still a relatively close battle behind Verline. 9 points separate Taylor Barnard and Antonio Felix da Costa and Nick Cassidy. You have Jev and Tictum and Mortara, all concertina and together, along with Gunther and Dennis, to round out the top 10. NHRA is also going, so I have to see where. Do I have that? No, I don't. The NHRA is out for the now abbreviated Western Swing, which is only 2 weeks. Seattle and Sonoma. The standings: Tony Stewart has a 52-point lead on Sean Langdon, Top Fuel, and 77 on Justin Ashley. In Funny Car, Austin Prock is under 27-point lead on Jack Beckman, and then nearly 200 on Paul Lee and everybody back. Greg Anderson, 50-point lead on Dallas Glenn. That's the thing right there. And Gage Herrera has a 96-point lead. And and then Richard Gadsden, who recently won his first race, is third. Get off of that, then go to World Superbikes. World Superbikes. So in the results, the Toprak Raskadlioku gets a clean sweep of all 3 races. Nicolo Balega finished second in all 3 races. Different riders in third in each race. Petrucci race 1, sprint, Sam Lowe's, and then Alvaro Bautista race 3. Toprak Raskadlioku, with that triple win, has now taken the points lead by 4 over Balega. Petrucci third, 15 points ahead of Alvaro Bautista, and then 21 points ahead of Andrea Locatelli. Garrett Groloff, and 60 points there. So that's World Series. So we'll throw to Supercars Townsville, Repco Supercars Championships, the season results. You have the Brody Kostecki won race 1, and Brock Feeney won race 2 and 3. So, and then even with that setback for Feeney, he's got 400, 8, 5, 1. Yeah, so yeah, Brock Feeney with 10 wins, Cam Waters second, Matt Payne third, Will Brown, Chaz Monster, your top 5. And those are the ones that are actually in contention. Yeah, so Josh, I'll let you throw in Josh, I'll let you talk about your thoughts on the movie briefly before I give mine.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the F1 the movie, I mean, I thought it was pretty good. Saw it the day that it came out, June 27 in IMAX. So a lot of good visuals. Audio was great. The audio, excellent quality throughout the movie. For me, I thought it was great to see IMSA. I think he probably is going to do more for IMSA than for F1, honestly, because and the Rolex 24 in that movie, which last year saw that saw that at Daytona, but of course was there at Daytona when they had the movie car competing, Chip Hart Racing competing there in the Rolex 24 as part of Wright Motorsport there. So that was pretty cool to see there last year. And of course, Brad Pitt at the racetrack, which last year he was there filming scenes for the walkout scene of him walking out onto the track. Was pretty cool to see of him at Daytona. But the rest of the movie, of course, the storyline, I mean, I think it's kind of like what Top Gun was for, for the military, for planes, that it's really about showing off the racing scenes and the technology and stuff. The story, I'm not sure how good the story was, but because there were parts that you're like, well, this would never happen in an F1 race, but I think the kind of the goal of the story was for casual people to get involved and see it and get interested in F1 and to provide something that was at least entertaining enough for racing fans to at least enjoy there, which I mean I still enjoyed it, but there's definitely some parts with the way that they employed the strategy for Apex F1 to try to score points and finish races with Brad Pitt basically playing decoy for Joshua Pierce there. So that was kind of my thought really on the movie. I will say at the end when he the Baja 1000, they're competing in that, or either that or the Dakar Rally, whichever one it was. Like for a minute, like after he left the scene at the F1 race at the end, like that he had won at the end, I was like, oh, he's gonna go dirt track racing or something. But then that would have been funny because then all the dirt fans would be like, see, dirt is better than F1. But no, I thought it was pretty funny to see him go out to the sand and go off-road racing and all that for Baja. But the other thing was in that final race scene there with the last 3 laps of the race. I mean, it's essentially like a movie form kind of the final race of 2021 with Max versus Lewis there, but they dramatized it, of course, because very similar ending there with the safety car / red flag in the movie and safety car in real life that put Max Verstappen in a position to pass Lewis Hamilton there on the last lap. And something kind of similar in the movie there happened there with I guess the movie car Lewis Hamilton. They're getting passed there by eventually by Joshua Pierce, and then Sonny Hayes there at the end taking the win there. So that was kind of interesting to see, which of course Lewis was a producer of this movie, and we know how much that 2021 event impacted him as a driver in that off season, because he basically just went to the off season and talked to no one, and we had no idea if he was ever coming back. So to see kind of similar version of that play out in the movie. I thought that was interesting. But yeah, overall, I mean, I think I'd probably give it like a probably an 8 out of 10. I think is good, decent storyline, but I think what really carries it was the visuals and the audio there. So I mean, personally for me, the first 20 minutes or so of the IMSA scenes, I was like, yes. But yeah, outside of that, I still think is a fairly solid movie. And I think people get interested in IMSA and get interested more in F1 as they already are, it seems like. So what were your thoughts on that film?
Yeah, I concur on a lot of what you said. I mean, they use Martin Donnelly's real life story in a sense, loosely, to make Sonny's story there. So that was pretty interesting. The sounds, some of the sounds were not accurate compared to timings and whatever, and tracks they talked about. It was Jerez when Martin Donnelly had his massive wreck. They were showing it at them racing at Brands Hatch. There are certain things that were there. Of course, the dramatization and having to make it the Top Gun being like Top Gun with Formula One type cars is basically, I think, a great way to really describe it. The whole driving, that whole dynamic with Joshua Pierce. I mean, I guess that's kind of like Senna Prost kind of thing, maybe, to a lesser extent. Brad Pitt at 60 years old, theoretically coming back to Formula One. A little bit over the top, but that wasn't his real age. I mean, probably he's like 40, whatever that, but enjoy the movie. My girl enjoyed the movie. We watched it with an early release. It wasn't on IMAX, but it was fun to watch, and was looking forward to it. And they did a good job with it. Jerry Bruckheimer is a legend for a reason, and Lewis did a good job as well. So for what it is, it played its part. It did its job, and I do think for IMSA it probably gives them a little more. Like you said, it does give them a little bit more juice after that, with him driving that 120 peak Porsche. But yeah, so, I mean, it's a good movie, really good, enjoyable movie. Never really was a Brad Pitt person, but that movie it shows kind of what kind of acting, why he's had such a long and illustrious career. I liked Kerry Condon, his whatever the race strategist slash aerodynamicist. I liked her. Found her to be underground very sexy, so that was good too. So I think one of the funny lines was when the Josh Pierce was in the bar in Las Vegas, and the drunk girl goes and asks him to introduce her to Carlos Sainz, which is outstanding. That made me laugh. I like the smooth operator comes through. You get the smooth operator reference right there. So that was That was pretty classic there. But there's a lot of good ones in that movie. So we will move on to we'll move to the IndyCars at Toronto this coming weekend. For the first time in a couple of years, the race will actually be on regular TV. So that'll actually be nice. Trying to remember. So you had picked first, so I will go pick first and for IndyCar, and I am going to pick Kyle Kirkwood because he wins on the street courses. He's won twice this year on street courses, so why not make it 3? The wild card choice for me, you got 26 cars, so 13. I was thinking this anyways, so I will go with it. I'll go with Louis Foster as my wild card. 45 has won there in the past. Christian Lundgaard, and to be honest, to be fair to Louis Foster, he did qualify on Polo Road America as well, so does have some semblance of pace. What say you, Josh?
Well, if you're going to go Kyle Kirkwood, then I will wave here at the camera and say hello, Palou, who won the first street course race here this year at St. Petersburg. So this is actually the last street course race for the season. Before we go to Laguna Seca and Portland for the last 2 road course races. So, we'll book in the season there with Alex Palou, and then my wild card will be Kiffin Simpson here, who's actually performed well in the last street course race, finishing 5th at Detroit. So see if he can put up another potentially top 5 finish here in IndyCar this weekend. So yeah, those are my 2 picks.
Ganassi picks in all 4 drivers, Honda drivers. So I'm curious to see how that'll all pan out at the streets of Toronto. The next thing is Cup and Xfinity. So Bet Rivers, 240 drivers, 2 of them missed the race. You have Jake Finch driving for Hendrick, making his Xfinity debut. You have Rajah Caruth driving the 32 for Jordan Anderson. You have LeVar Scott driving for Alpha Prime. Ryan Truex, Dover specialist, driving for Sam Hunt. Josh, you get first dibs on that one. Who do you go and move out of the line? Yeah, so who do you see for the Xfinity Series this weekend?
You know what? I'm going to go with the interesting one here. And, well, we talked about, and I'll preview this by saying, we talked about Connor Zilisch a lot this year. And at the beginning of the year, we said there's 2 junior motorsports drivers who could very well be a part of the championship fight. And Carson Kvapil has been competitive this year, but, hasn't won yet this year. And last year at Dover, started 26th, finished 2nd, led 14 laps, I think. Had a shot there to win, so I'm going to pick him to win this weekend. Carson Kvapil to win this weekend here in the Xfinity Series race at Dover. So got him, and then I think wild card pick. Let's go with Fast Pasta here, Anthony Alfredo. Let's see what he can do this weekend.
For me, I will go with Justin Allgaier to win. Great on concrete, leading the points. There, and then my wild card will be Ryan Truex, because he runs limited races. He's not running a full calendar, so it's kind of a hedge if he was running full time, but just as much a hedge about what he can do, leading up to and on race day itself. All right, so Cup at Dover. It's their one race a year. It'll be super hot outside. 37 for 40, so only JJ Ely is an open for now. The lawsuit between 2311 FRM versus NASCAR was preliminary dismissed, but so Echo Park on 400. There's Moose, the Auto Trader, Res Tree, the pick for me this weekend, I will go with you know what, I'll say it. It's been a while, but I say that Kyle Larson gets off the whatever his slump and gets a victory on Sunday for the first time in a while. My wild card pick. That's my wild card pick will be Ty Dillon. Who cares? He's been running hot, so try to go and ride her out. I went wrecked. So that's my choices. I had Kyle Larson and Ty Dillon wild card.
Let's get last go here. I guess for me, I'll go with Denny Hamlin, Concrete Monster. Go here and win at Dover, and then my wild card. I'll go with Michael McDowell as a wild card here this weekend. So, yeah, that's who I'll pick. So, yeah, we'll see how that one goes. But yeah, can't argue with Kyle or Denny here at this racetrack.
I think both of those are solid picks, and I think the temperatures this weekend will probably assist in that as well, making the track pretty slick, which will be something you want to watch with the handling and everything. Josh, let us know what's going on in the world of iRacing gaming. It's time for the Sim segment.
Yep. Well, for me, so last sim racing event that I participated in before vacation was the Firecracker 400 at Daytona in the old 87 car, the old Daytona Legacy Daytona, whatever you want to call it. There, which the one that I ran, I was actually very competitive in. Had to survive all the crashing throughout the first part of the race. I mean, there was a ton of cautions throughout that, which, yeah, pretty excessive. With the amount, I'll pull up the results here so I can kind of read from that. But yeah, the amount of yellows here in this race is like every other lap was a yellow. We had 18 cautions for 54 laps here. It was so bad. This is third split in the Open Series Firecracker 400 on July 2nd. That would have been a Wednesday, I think. So yeah, that was just a lot of cautions, but you know, led laps, led 10 laps here, just hanging around in the top 5 basically, and then pulling for out to win the race, or to try to win the race. I made my move like late in that race to try to take the lead, and then caution came out, and I came out second in the pits, and then from there was trying to get back into the lead, and then this one dude was really aggressive and just took the lead, or got me out of the way and took the lead from the leader. And then the last lap, had a chance pushing the guy in second, trying to get him to the outside of the leader. The leader goes, well, on the backstretch, they're side by side, and I have a run. And then I decide I'm just going to shoot to the inside to try to take the lead there on the last lap, to go 3 wide below the yellow line, because that was legal in 1987, in my opinion. So I tried to do that, but the guy as the leader went and blocked me and put me in the grass, and then I spun out and hit the wall, driving through the grass and then losing control and spinning and hitting the wall. So yeah, I was not happy about that. But then going into turn 3, the leader and the guy in second pinching him down in the corner, he gets loose and spins out to the second place guy that I probably should have pushed out there, won the race. So that's about as close as a win I've had in a while on ovals and iRacing. So been in a bit of a dry spell there lately, which I don't know what it is, but yeah, I had a chance there at the end, and all you had to do is just survive and stuff. And honestly, like, I was racing pretty conservatively, because I forgot to change the qualifying setup in the car, and then that left me, I thought, with max tape. But apparently I must have had a different setup, or maybe I did and I forgot. But I thought the engine would blow 30 minutes into that thing, 30 laps in the thing, because the engine, I thought I forgot to change the setup, because I was something happened to my graphics settings, and I lost like 2 of my monitors, so I could only compete on 1 monitor, so I wasn't even able to stream and everything. So because I meant to stream it, as I usually stream special events. So it ended up having a bit of an issue there with the field of view there as well, because it adjusted it back to one screen, so I had to do that. So I was in a bit of a pickle there for like the first 30 laps or so of that, and then worrying about if I was going to blow up, because I thought I was on the qualifying setup, but I did have to make a spoiler adjustment there for extra downforce there to try to give more stability, because I wanted to have a little bit more grip as the tire wear set in. But we never even really had that many of a long run throughout the race. I mean, the second half kind of did, but just as it was getting good, there would be something that would happen. So I think next year, if they do the Firecracker 400, they're probably going to do it on the Gen 4 car, so it'll be like a pack race from the mid 2000s, which is fine. But I mean, the Firecracker 400 as it is, with 87s, I mean, it's the way to go. But I'm sure it would have been different if it were like the one e-racer race that Parker Kligerman and Landon Castle put on a couple of years ago, that they did with Dale Jr. back in 2020 and 2021 and I think 2023. So, which I think this is what the iRacing special event was for that, or kind of based off of that. So, yeah, I mean, 39 lead changes, a lot of lead changes, but yeah, it was a chaotic event throughout, and then finished ninth in that, third on the last lap, and getting crashed there. So that was real frustrating there. But this week, iRacing, let's see, Toyota 86 at Motorsport Arena, Oshlers Lesbian, there's got that. BMW M2 at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, GT3 Challenged Fixed at VIR, Global Mazda, so the MX-5s at Laguna Seca also. Got the TCR Challenge at Summit Point Raceway as well, so that might be one to hit up. Oval Race, I guess, yeah, Dover for the Cup Series and Xfinity Series. Gen 4s at Pocono, trucks at Worldwide Technology Raceway Gateway, IndyCar. Let's see what do they have. IndyCar this week. IndyCar is at Kansas Speedway this week on the Oval Fixed Series, and then the Road Fixed Series and Open Series is at Circuit Gil Villeneuve this week. So a little bit of a Canadian GP with the Dallara IR18 there. And then the 87 car is at Twin Ring Motegi. That's funny. On the Grand Prix circuit, the road course. Wow. That's an interesting selection for the 87 car to be on her. Not even like a classic road course. This is a Twin Ring Motegi road course, which certainly 2.983 mile 14 turn international road course. That's funny. Okay, I see you iRacing trying to make it difficult on us 87 drivers this week. That's interesting. And then Arca Menard car at Kansas Speedway this week. They did, in terms of news, they did have let's see, NASCAR is at Dover for the iRacing Series, IndyCar iRacing Series. Yeah, again at Circuit Gil Villeneuve. The let's see here. What else? They had a special event here. They had the Spa 24-hour race here recently, last weekend on iRacing. Didn't really pay attention to that though. I think the next special event might be the Brickyard 400 for ovals, so I'll have to potentially look at that there. So we'll see. I think that's in next weekend or in 2 weeks from now. I have to look at that again. But yeah, that's, I think, the next big special event on ovals for iRacing there. So yeah, we'll go look at that there. Probably do some iRacing this weekend, of course, or throughout the week. We'll see there. I did actually, I think last night, just hopped in and did the BMW M2 car, which that car is very, at least for me, seemed very twitchy. So in certain parts, like not always, but it seemed like this is on Spa, like going through Eau Rouge, that corner there, just, you know, obviously you have to get on the brakes uphill, but just seemed very twitchy there as you go over the curb, to get onto the straight there. So that was interesting there, and there was different parts of there where it was a little twitchy. So I don't know if I'll try that car, because it did seem very different from some of the other cars that are suited towards like novices on road racing there. So yeah, I think that's it for, well, not entirely. I did forget about NASCAR 25, which I guess more news on that for here, so we can go look at that very briefly. They had producer interview with the producer for NASCAR 25. It seems like there's some skepticism in this game. Gameplay trailer be late August. Not trying to make iRacing on console. Seems like they'll have pit road animated, so you won't have, like, as soon as you enter pit road, you won't have to drive through it. So that's okay. Full wheel and pedal support for their AI is going to be adjusted and also be similar to what their real life counterparts is. So I think one example, they said Kyle Larson, probably AI Kyle Larson, will use the high line at certain racetracks. Drivers run uniquely at every single track. Dale Jr. was heavily involved in the music selection for the game, so that's very interesting. Junior will do podcasts about the game and your driver in career mode, race days in game, everything from driver's first person perspective, pre-race, qualifying, practice, etc., sitting in the car, being pushed out, etc., updated rules packages, stages, no multiple tire sets, but that's in the long term. Yeah, no multiple tire sets, but that's long-term plan for the game. Cars will feel different. ARCA doesn't feel the same as truck, Xfinity Cup. Multiplayer highlights, no local multiplayer, all online. That's a little unfortunate because that was one of my things when I was a kid, play locally with my little brother, but I mean, maybe not. But league support, no spectators, but that might be a thing in the future. Custom race settings for play now and play online. No car control in the pits or under caution, so take a break whenever there's yellow. So it's not like iPacing there. I guess blocking AR cars, wrecking cars. I don't know. I guess they said there's a lot of work to do everything and catch all the edge cases, I guess, in the game. But interesting. Okay, career mode. Always going to start in ARCA this year. Story mode. Dirt to Daytona type of feel for career. Career mode will let you hire more staff members. R&D able to hire VIP employees that are more effective for less money. No driver changes in silly season in the career mode in year one, but they think they can add it in for for future games. R&D career mode will be as deep or as surface level as you want it to be. Car customization, they have a paint booth like some of the older EA Sports games. Release date, they didn't say they have a release date, but they're aiming for late October or late September, early October. No Switch release, apparently, because apparently there was a rumor that it was going to be on Nintendo Switch, but I think it's only going to be on PlayStation and Xbox. There, no definitive answer on a yearly NASCAR game. Maybe PC, I don't know, but no definitive answer on a yearly NASCAR game for this game series, or just being updated a year or two before the next one. So it won't, there's no guarantee of a NASCAR 26, so, but maybe a NASCAR 27 there, so we'll see. Because you can't release it in February before the season starts, because the game has to be finished and submitted 3 months ahead of time. So obviously they would have to have no lead time for paint schemes and accuracy, driver changes. So yeah, there's a lot of news there for what the game will look like, what will be featured in the game. So looking forward to being able to play that game once it's released and all that stuff. So that's it for Sim Racing segment this week, now that we've covered NASCAR 25. But yes, you can go on Twitch whenever I do try to stream Twitch TV at USailor2. Go and watch that. Of course, Twitter at JP Huffine, and of course, the YouTube page at Group Share Podcasts on there. So go and catch us on there for all the streams there. So yeah, that's it for me this week. Glad to be back after being on vacation, and glad to be, talking about SVG and all his domination here lately in the last couple of weeks here in NASCAR.
SVG, you had Connor Zilisch, you had Alex Palou. Just seemed like one of those weekends, and it's great to be back on the show, even the fatigue and everything. Great, we're able to go and do this after a couple weeks away, so great to bring it back. Glad you had a good time on your trip. I'm looking forward to taking a similar trip. We'll talk about next week, maybe briefly, or a couple weeks from now. You can find us at Grip Strip Podcast or GSP 1428. My Twitter is PG Matthew 28, along with Insta and Blue Sky or PGMGSP 28 is Instant Blue Sky, and then philipgmatthew.com on WordPress for the blog site. So with that, we'll say goodbye for this week of the Grip Strip podcast, and we'll be back next week for episode 275. Discuss everything that took place at Dover, Toronto, and everywhere else in the world of racing. We'll discuss and go and give you all the great information that we can give and insights that come with the Grip Strip podcast. So for Josh, I'm Phil. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you next time.